We don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries, Rebellion Radio.
Why, yes, it is. How are you? Welcome. My name is Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. We are powered by right-wing news. You can see us there on other Facebook pages, including Liberty One TV. We are sponsored tonight by the nice folks at the HearMeOut app. And if you haven't downloaded it, I'm disappointed in you. I need you to download this app right to your phone. It's the HearMeOut app. And as a matter of fact, I have a deal tonight where if you download tonight, I'll be able to see it on my phone as we're doing the show. So if you download the HearMeOut app and sign up, it won't cost you anything. And then follow me, Rusty Humphries. I'll give you an extra bonus shout out because I'll know if you've signed up or not. And maybe nobody will do it. And it's too bad for you because the HearMeOut app is incredible. It's Twitter, but you talk instead of type. And what's amazing about it is it's such a new app that we are able as conservatives to have a large influence on this app. Like Facebook before it took off, like Twitter before it took off. And so we need you to download the HearMeOut app, follow me, Rusty Humphries, and in case any one of these other big social media giants decide to silence and censor us, we can still communicate. So again, follow me on the HearMeOut app. A lot of things going on in the news. It's been kind of one of those days where Congress is fighting and the latest thing about now we got another judge that says, oh no, Donald Trump, you can't do the DACA thing. What are you talking about? It was unconstitutional in the first place. Bob Gourley is here. He is the host of the Issues Today podcast. Bob, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, good. Thanks, Rich. Yes, for having us on. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. So Issues Today, I'm guessing you guys talk about issues of the day.
Yeah, we do. We have a great mix of guests. It was all started because of our radio program, Issues Today Radio, which is on about 148 stations around the country. People were saying, Bob, you don't have time to get into all the issues. So we started the long-form Issues Today podcast. And we have longer form interviews that people can listen to, and it really runs the gamut from, health to politics to money. We do it all on the podcast now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you see, you're 140 stations. I'm very interested in syndication. What company are you with?
We're with Ed Mann, Mann Syndication Group out of Los Angeles, and
Ed Mann.
Ed's a great guy.
Let me tell you about everyone. Let me tell you about this guy, Ed Mann. First of all, his father-in-law. Who's his father-in-law?
Was Don Rickles.
Don Rickles was his
right.
father-in-law. That's right. All right, so can I tell you a quick story and then we'll get to work?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Okay, I'm 20 years old and I'm working at a radio station in Los Angeles called Kiss FM, the biggest radio station in the world at the time. And I come in on a Saturday, and there's three guys, and they're in the Jock Lounge. It's where the DJs would hang out.
Yeah, right.
And I walk in, and they go, close the door, close the door, close the door. What do you mean, close the door? We're stuffing envelopes. You can help us stuff envelopes. We're going to make $1 million. You're going to make $1 million? Yeah, we're going to make $1 million in this thing called a plane wrap countdown. Help me stuff the envelopes. Anyway, so I stuff the envelopes. That company is now one of the biggest, what is the biggest syndication company. They own Rush Limbaugh, they own Glenn Beck, you name it, Premier, and that's Ed Mann started that company, and I helped stuff the envelopes, and I like to tell people, had it not been for me, that company probably wouldn't have existed.
And Ed Mann wouldn't be as big as he is, right?
That's right. He's a great dude, and that's any friend of Ed Mann's is a friend of mine. Okay, so now I don't know. Are you conservative? Are you liberal? What do you?
We're definitely conservative, and the thing of it is, I have been a conservative since I was 18 years old, and got a lot of flack about it when. In high school, we had all these liberal teachers and all these people who were, the liberal slant. And I got a lot of flack about it, but I was able to start arguing my points, and I think that made a big difference, and that helped my talk career too, I think.
I bet. All right, let's say hi to some folks. We got Carol watching. I want to say, have you checked in yet? Have you shared the video? We want to let people know about Bob, too. Mike's there. Kara's there. George is from Blanca, Colorado. Steve is watching. Brian, good evening, Rusty. He's a deplorable from Jersey. Brian, how you doing? John is from Altus, Oklahoma. William is there. David is a deplorable from Utah. Jason is checking in from Georgia. Carl's there from Pasadena, Maryland, and Brian's there, and Reese is there. Genevieve is from New Jersey. John is from St. John's, Arizona. Chris from Show Low, Arizona. Irma's from New York. Brian is there. Anyway, keep checking in. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. You live in Nevada.
You're right.
I spent a lot of time in Nevada. I lived in Reno for a long time.
Yeah, I love Reno. You know, I tell people I'm a refugee from Los Angeles because I grew up, and speaking of KISS FM, certainly listened to that a lot when I was growing up. And I got fed up. We've been here about 5 years now. I got fed up with the taxes and the traffic. I just couldn't take it anymore. And so there's a lot of people coming out to Nevada, and I hope they don't
and unfortunately,
like they did California.
And unfortunately, they're bringing a lot of liberalness.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
And now there's a lot of things going on in Nevada. There's a big race for the Senate, right, going on, and there's some House races. Catch us up what's going on. And by the way, it's Nevada, not Nevada.
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Catch us up a little bit, would you?
Well, Dean Heller is up for the Senate this year. He's been, of course, a senator for a while. There's a wild primary that's going to be coming up pretty soon. Heller is very vulnerable for a lot of reasons. He didn't embrace some of the more conservative ideas. He was more of an establishment type guy, and I think he's going to have a real problem in that primary that's coming up. I think we're going to have a real tough race. He is going to have a tough race, and he didn't embrace Trump. And believe it or not, there are a lot of Trump people out here. So.
Well, and I remember him when he was, I think, Secretary of State, and he was always kind of an establishment guy, but he'd always lean conservative. I don't know what happened, and so Danny Tarkanian is going after him. Correct?
That's right. And the interesting thing about Danny Tarkanian, of course, we all know about his father, Jerry, who was the savior of UNLV basketball for many years. And he's run for several offices out here, has never really won, and a lot of people think he has a lot of baggage. So it's going to be a really interesting race, and I don't really know how it's going to end up.
What's his baggage? I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He's a nice guy. His wife is very fun and happy and attractive. I think his mom is a big liberal. I don't know if that's what it is. I know she's in I think city government, as I recall.
I believe so. Well, yes, he embraces a lot of the conservatives. He may be even more conservative than Dean Heller. The problem is he got into some problems here with campaign financing and that type of thing, and so it's going to be kind of interesting because I think his opponent's going to be able to do a lot of damage on that kind of thing. He's run 5 or 6 times for offices around here.
Well, and it's always very shocking to me that liberals win anything in Nevada. I mean,
I agree.
And I know Harry Reid very, very well. And but when he was in Nevada, the guy in Nevada was not the guy in D.C. The guy in Nevada, was he a Nevadan? Boy, was he. Let's go out and have dinner and hang out. And then he gets to D.C. and I didn't really know the guy.
Well, the thing with him was when Sharon Angle wrote, I think ran against him last time, the conservative Sharon Angle, I think was her name. There was she was pretty much ahead until the last, when all of the big moguls in town, including I believe Steve Wynn, supported him at the last minute. So it didn't help her at all, and it was kind of a shock that went on at this point. Jerry Reid is, did I say Jerry Reid? Harry Reid. Yeah, he lives a few, not too far from us up here.
Is he in Searchlight now? Is he there, or is he still in
He's
DC?
up in Anthem, up not too far from where we are here, but in Henderson, right up in Henderson here. But it's interesting because he did not, he evolved from a very small town, and all of a sudden he became a millionaire and all these things. And you really wonder about those kind of things that went on. And if you saw that movie Casino, he was one of the commissioner there that was going on, that was taking all the graft and that kind of thing. So I didn't know. He changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
He changed quite a bit.
And Sharon Angle, I knew her. She was my mother-in-law's best friend. She used to come over for barbecues all the time, and all of a sudden she's running for office. And next thing, she did very well in the Senate race. And part of the problem there was the D.C. people came in and said, "You're going to do it our way," and then she lost it. They
You're right.
didn't let Sharon be Sharon. Okay, big story today is that another judge has struck down DACA. Donald Trump, you cannot get rid of DACA. How do you strike down an unconstitutional order from the president before and make that law?
Liberal judges.
Yeah.
2 words. Liberal judges, people who are not, they're interpreters of their own agenda as opposed to being the law as it should be. It's a big problem. One of the things I'm happy with is the Trump administration is putting in a lot of more conservative judges, and I think that's going to make a big impact in the next 5-10 years. I hope so.
Yeah, they need to move more quickly. One of the things Republicans have done, Bush did it, the first Bush did it, and that was, we're going to get along, and so we're not going to just fire everybody. No, we're going to have all these people, and we're going to let them keep their jobs, and we're going to be bipartisan. And every time the word bipartisan comes out, that means we're going to get hosed.
That's right. There is no bipartisanship, I don't think, with the Democratic Party. What you see is they want you to come to this side, and then they will compromise. But it's always the Republicans that are supposed to compromise, and that it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And then when you do compromise, they will stab you in the back. There was a big
exactly.
Yeah, read my lips. No new taxes. That's George Bush when they said, "Oh, we're not going to use that as a campaign issue. Just help us get this thing through. We'll never use it as a campaign issue." He signs that bill, and next thing you know, they went and stabbed him in the back.
That's why, for whether you like Trump or not, that's why it's good to see a fighter out there.
Although I'm concerned about this new budget deal. He's spending. He's spent a lot of money.
I'm glad you brought that up because I am appalled by this budget. I am really shocked that the spending that's going to go on with it. We have all of these Republicans who campaign for smaller government, for less spending, and all of a sudden here we have this bill that's going to. First of all, they took the spending limits off too, so there aren't any checks anymore.
Yeah.
There really aren't.
They're, at this point, why vote for a Republican other than they'll just make it so that we don't go over the cliff quite as fast.
Our grandchildren will go over the cliff faster than we will, I think.
It is heartbreaking, and yeah, I mean, it sounds good. Listen, I spent time, like I've told you, with Harry Reid, and the same week I spent time with Harry Reid and with Mitch McConnell. And, one-on-one, they're both very nice guys, and they seem very reasonable. And, what I figured out from Harry Reid was, and I know this is going to make people angry, he's not an evil guy. He just believed that we never spent enough money and that government can fix those problems. And I think he believed that in his heart. He's wrong, but I think that's what he believes, and there's just nothing you can do. I don't know.
Well, the whole philosophy of throwing money at something, which is what the liberals have done for years, I think it makes them feel better instead of really approaching the issue. What needs to be done is talked about long-term approaches to this type of thing instead of just, we're throwing money, so now I feel better, so that takes care of it. It doesn't take care of it. It certainly doesn't take care of it. Education, the homeless situation in Los Angeles, I've been following that because I still have a home down in Los Angeles, and it's appalling. They want to build all this housing for homeless, which is great, except it's not going to solve the problem. There are just more and more are going to come in and want more of housing and that type of thing. You have too many expensive homes, housing. They don't let them build enough housing down there, and so people can't afford to live there. So it's a huge problem.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, his name is Bob Gourley. The name of his show is called Issues Today. It's a podcast, and I'm guessing you get it at iTunes and Stitcher and iHeartRadio and all those places, right?
Yeah. Well, we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we're a fairly new podcast. The show's been on 20 years, the radio show.
Oh,
but the podcast is relatively new.
Man, you're old. No, I'm kidding.
I know. I know.
No.
Yeah, 1998, we started on one station in Los Angeles, KPPC, the legendary KPPC. Many years, but you probably know that station.
I did. Now, see, here's where I'm getting old. I'm younger than you, but I started radio in 1982. So I feel like I'm falling apart.
72 for me.
72. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rodney thinks we need to have term limits. Kara says activist judges who choose to rule by ideology and political view and not by the oath to defend the Constitution need to be removed from their offices. You know, you brought up one thing, and you're right, and that is I can't afford paying for you, congressman or senator, to feel good. I'm not in charge of your emotions. And the American people can't handle it either. We need to start being ruled more by reason and logic. But like the DACA ruling, that was an emotional ruling by the judge. There wasn't any law behind that.
No, there isn't any law behind it. And the problem is you can't have open borders forever. There have to be laws. No country has ever survived with open borders. They've never had open borders. You look at Mexico, their southern border is locked tight. At least it's supposed to be. The northern border is certainly different. But
you and I can't buy land there, for example. We could lease it for 99 years, but I can't give it to my children. They got all kinds of laws that we just go, eh.
Yeah, right, exactly, and you can't, and that's another thing. You can't, being in California as long as I was, the just absence of wanting to enforce immigration law to me is just appalling. I mean, I can't believe that the state does what it does, sanctuary state, all of those kind of things that go on, and it's it's widespread there. And the thing is, a lot of the people, they think it's fine down there. They really do.
And I don't understand that. The only time I've ever had real crime was in San Diego. Somebody stole a car twice. It's bedlam down there. It's crazy go nuts. Now, your boss, Ed Mann, he's thinking it's all good. He's a big old liberal, and he's thinking, let's bring them all in. Okay, Ed, let's have them stay at your house first.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ed, well, we have to keep working on Ed. It's okay.
No, he's a lost cause. You know what it is he's such a nice guy. He leads with his feelings. And because he leads with his feelings, it feels good to feel bad for people that, can lie to you and tell you what you want to hear.
Well, that's it. And the whole philosophy, it gets back to government can solve all problems. It not only can't solve all problems, can't solve really any of the problems. No. That's what it is. Government, as far as I'm concerned, is for defense, military, and maybe put some roads in. And that's pretty much it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, what the government is supposed to do, it's supposed to keep it so that people aren't robbing each other. It's to keep the peace and keep commerce moving forward. And heck, we can't even do that. We spent a year and a half talking about Russia. When it's nothing but a bunch of crap.
Well, and what are they talking about today? When Trump knew about his the harassment of the sexual harassment of the two people, and instead of what's happening with Hillary Clinton and all of these, the dossier and all that stuff that's going on, that proves that really the Democrats were more involved with the Russian probe than Trump ever was.
And the question is what did Obama know and when did he know it? It needs to be said over and over and over again like they did to Nixon, because if you think that Obama, I ain't know nothing in that administration, give me a friggin' break.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, he knew about it and actually directed it.
Absolutely.
It's not only knowing, it's directing too, I think. Very much so.
Absolutely. And he sure did a good job directing that official portrait guy too, huh?
I've had so many comments about that. I don't know if you have, but even people on both sides of the aisle, what is that? The man on the throne and the other one, I've never seen anything quite like that.
Oh, it's one of the few times I'm actually embarrassed for him. I feel bad almost. And you take a look, if you've done any research on this, on the artist, he only paints powerful black men and women. That's it. And he's also done a couple of paintings where black women are cutting the heads off of them and holding of white women.
Really? Yeah. I have not heard that.
Yeah, but that's the guy Obama thinks is a good idea to do the portrait. Good thinking.
Well, they're going to be hanging there somewhere for a while.
Oh, in the official portrait gallery. It's going to look
right.
awful. And you know what? Good. Nobody deserves to look more awful than him. All right. Bob Gourley, Issues Today podcast. We find it where and when and how?
It's on all the time. Issues Today podcast.libsyn, Libsyn, that's our podcastpeople.com. Or you can go to issuestodayradio.com as well, where all the information's on there as well.
All right. Hey, Bob, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Hey, Randy, great to meet you, man. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate it.
God bless you, brother. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bob
Gourley, very good job. Nice job and nice guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. It's nice to have nice people on. I don't have guests on very often. Although this one, I wish I had this guest. Are you a Bill Murray fan? I've always loved Bill Murray, always. He's always been my favorite. And he was on MSNBC, I guess, earlier today. I missed it, and I haven't watched it yet. I thought I'd watch it with you. Let's see, Bill Murray talking politics, and supposedly it wasn't a slam on Trump or conservatives. I want to watch a little bit of it here on the Rusty Davies Rebellion.
And you finally, what are chinch bugs? Do you know?
Chinch bugs?
Have you checked the manganese levels?
They're an irritant.
Bill Murray, iconic. I called you like one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, which is weird that you're one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, isn't it? Did you want? It's kind of embarrassing.
The host is so nervous he can barely ask questions.
Most of what I do is embarrassing, but I'm not keeping track of who's in charge out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either at this point. We don't want to get serious on you, but God, what a year it's been out there, right?
It's been a very interesting year out there, and all the movements have they've affected the restaurant business. I mean, people don't want to go out in public because people will say, "You're the guy who didn't," whatever.
But I can tell that it's been cathartic to some extent for the industry, and something that a day of reckoning that was long coming due to some extent. If people are monstrous, it comes back. Eventually, it comes around, and we get justice, but we don't get it when we want it, right? Yeah. So this is unusual. People are getting their justice rather quickly. They're getting it fast, and there's a big wave. And I've known just in your career and everything else, but I don't think you become as successful unless you have sort of a really good feel for what's happening in society. I think a lot of the movies that you've done, they resonate. That's why they last 40 years and things like that. But so I wanted to ask you about the political discourse and where we are in terms of the country. It's a serious question for you, but I know you think about stuff like this. I mean, where are we, and how do we get here, and how do we get out of this?
I don't know how we got. Well, you've sort of been watching it happen, and here we are, and it's Clash of Clans first thing in the morning every day. Where people are just going to war about so much. It's interesting when this kind of movement happens. This kind of thing happens. It creates all kinds of sort of compost and fertilizer to make the next stage happen. So. Obviously, things swing back and forth, and they go this way or that. But it's what people do in that moment of not reacting, but observing it and seeing it that changes. So a lot of people felt like, okay, when this new politic comes now, that it's going to make a new opportunity to join some people together. It's how can there be someone like, we're talking about who you like someone like Kristen Wiig that's really a funny person. How can Kristen Wiig make everyone laugh? She's not thinking about being political. She's thinking about what resonates and what is common to all of us. Yeah. I think that's harder and harder to do because people are trying to try to win their point of view as opposed to saying, what if I spoke to everyone? My friend who's a great comedy writer, Jim Downey, he's accused of being a right-wing writer, a comedy writer, if there is such a thing, sort of. And he says, no, I just think the way that the Democrats handle things is poor, where they try to pick out little pieces of a population that, we represent the Hispanics, we represent the LGBT or something. And they're not speaking to everyone at once. And it's almost demeaning to say, I'm choosing you because you're a splinter group or you're a certain minority group.
that there's almost a resentment that somehow you're separated again by a politician. You know, that you're my people. I'm in control of you. I represent you. Instead of thinking that each citizen has a right to be respected as a citizen first, someone under the laws of the country.
Bill, I know that you don't follow the markets closely, but it's in the backdrop for everybody right now, and it's certainly been discussed on the golf course this week. We were just talking about what Randall Stephenson had to say, and the CEO saying that they're going to continue to spend. How much does this rise up to your awareness level, and what do you think about what's been happening?
Well, I think the high tide raising all boats. I think certainly the change in the tax laws is a great thing for the corporations. It's a fantastic thing. I don't pretend to understand what that will mean in the future in terms of the economy and what the budget will have to do to take care of what people call entitlements or whatever. That may or may not work, and I don't know. But I think in the first step, it's made things easier. I think people feel like there was probably too much regulation, and yet you just hope that they don't throw out the baby with the bathwater when breaking down regulations that somehow, there's things that don't protect people inside of it, sort of, things that have been well observed and serve us as citizens.
I think, I'm not kidding, you're just soothing. The market's now up 265. Those are the highs those are the highs for the morning.
Is that just since we got
I'm not kidding. It might be the pants, the bill bottoms or something.
By the way, these are William Murray Golf Line new bill bottoms, because you're also an entrepreneur now.
I want to pair something fierce.
I'm a very quiet, passive entrepreneur. If this is what being an entrepreneur is, wearing pants like this, we're going to have a special edition of Squawk Box about our nation's future.
So you still you got no agent, people got to call, and if you like something they say, you might call them back. How many, you're doing 1 out of 50 or something now, or what's that? What do you still need to do? You won this tournament too, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, the Cubs won, I won this tournament. Lost a little weight. It's all really going my way, Joe. I mean, it's really a Bill Murray decade.
It's a Bill Murray. That's exactly what I was thinking. And then the one other thing I was thinking, you watch SNL. How does that work? It's Lorne, right? After all these years, it's
yeah. The amazing thing is the guy has learned something and learned how to do this thing. It's pretty amazing how it runs now, and he has so much confidence that it's that same room of people all stuffed into a room between dress and air. And he just goes, okay, can we cut that? And can we do this? And someone's going to take care of that, and this is going to be that. And people they just nod. And it was fun to be in there a couple of weeks ago. And
yeah, how'd you wind up as Steve Bannon?
The people spoke. I don't know. My friend called me up and said, would you like to be Steve Bannon? I said, who wouldn't? No, I just said, sure, okay, I'm going that way anyway. So, and they had a really good wig. Come on, a really good wig.
So we'll see what happens. DA and you won together. That with some happen. So good luck. What'd you do? You were at
we were at Spyglass. We were 6. Spyglass is really about survival.
It is
sort of what
should be graded on the curve.
World War I. It really feels like that.
At least it's not wet.
At least it's not wet.
Because then it's even harder. It's really, when you come and get up and make the effort to come here, it means a lot. You're out doing, checking out some of the.
I heard there was a government shutdown, and I said, I got to get to the box.
Did you have that leaf blower out? Did you clean up around it? Anyway, I remember more about Caddyshack than you do. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Futures are up now.
All right. How much fun was that? Unfortunately, the host sucked. Didn't ask him a lot of the questions that should have been asked. Didn't follow up, and he was nervous. But I mean, come on. You got to love that. Bill Murray, how cool, huh? All right. That's very cool. Do you have anything planned for Valentine's Day tomorrow? I don't know about me. One thing you can get for your sweetheart is this book, 7 Ways to Win Political Debates to Your Liberal Family and Friends and Still Keep Them as Family and Friends. Yes. Yes. Amazon in paperback, Kindle, or the Audible version where I read it to you. Let's see, how many people signed up for the Hear Me Out app? See, Bill did, William did, Dana, Sean, Jess, Colin, and a couple more. That doesn't mean, did you sign up? How much does it cost Bill Clinton for Valentine's Day? I'll tell you what, Sean, that's a good question. There's all kinds of women. You got to take care of them. If you don't do something around Valentine's Day, they're not going to be there when you need them. You know what I'm saying? I think you're absolutely right. And, you just got to keep it quiet. Keep it quiet. Follow me on that Hear Me Out app, would you please? Just download it on your phone. It's not that big of a deal. You hit the App Store. You hit the App Store, right? You type in Hear Me Out, all one word, and the Hear Me Out app pops right up. And then you just download it. Right there, you download it, and then follow me, Rusty Humphries, and it's very, very interesting. Gordon says, hey, Rusty, haven't seen you for a while. Gordon, I'm here every night, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West, unless I've got something else going on, which tomorrow night I may or may not show up. Just depends. Jessica says I do the best Bill Clinton. I'll tell you what, Jessica, I'll do something else to you that you'll never forget. What? All right, have a great night. May God bless you. May God bless America. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, The Rusty Humphries Rebellion. I'm Rusty Humphries, and it's iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those great places. We'll see you next time here on The Rusty Humphries Rebellion.